Hi, I'm Jennifer Katz. I'm a marketing consultant, and today I'm interviewing Laurie Handlers.
Hi, I'm Laurie Handlers, and I'm a sex educator and an intimacy coach.
Laurie, there are so many NFL players who have been in trouble in the news because of domestic violence. Some like Pac-Man Jones, Marshawn Lynch, Ben Roethlisberger, Fabian Washington. What do you make of this?
Well, Jen, it's a great question that you ask. You know, these athletes, NFL players to name a few, but other professional athletes also, the very thing that they're paid for, their talent, their sport that they're on the field with, is also can go into shadow. Like they have a lot of testosterone that runs the game. It's how they're able to do what they do. They're incredibly talented and they have this, a kind of a killer instinct for the game. And then when they're off the court, that very same amount of surging testosterone is still there. And they don't know how to modulate it. They don't have any way to release some of that energy so that they can stay out of trouble, so that they can keep from raging, or they can keep from feeling like, like they have to beat something. And that's a real problem. It's a real problem for them.
When you work with people who experience this same thing, this kind of rage, what is your solution in resolving this so they can have functional personal lives?
Well, you know, the NFL is, in particular, is in a lot of trouble these days because so many players are out of control. And when I work with people who exhibit rage and have like tremendous anger issues, coupled with very huge sexual energy, I give them techniques to be able to contain the energy. That's number one. I teach them exactly how to contain the energy. And then I also teach them release techniques so that they can release the trigger on the anger and the rage, and they can prevent themselves from either hurting others or hurting themselves, because ultimately they're the victims as well as other people who might get hurt by them.
Can you tell me a story of someone who you've treated who experienced this and they came in very probably upset because they do have this rage in their personal life and they want to fix it? How did you tell me their story about what happened after you were able to teach them these techniques?
Okay, I've worked with quite a few people who were used to blowing people away with their anger, either verbal anger or actually the kind of anger that could result in some kind of physical abuse. I've worked with people like this. They've seen me, not for terribly long either. I mean, I could work with somebody maybe in something like 10 or 12 sessions where the person came in and we did emotional release work right on the spot. Anger doesn't scare me because it's something that I've had to grapple with.
Mm-hmm.
So I've worked with people, they could be 10 times bigger than me since I'm only 5'2", but I work with them in expressing the anger in a healthy way. And they get the release and they start to kind of dig away at the slush fund, like of all of this stored stuff. And they start to calm down. But the thing is, it doesn't make them less effective in their lives. Actually, I've helped a lot of athletes in different sports fields, tennis, golf, and basketball. I've helped people be able to be as effective on the court but less aggressive off the court. So I know that might be a concern that some of these athletes would have. Well, if you take away this rage that I have, I will be as able to perform on the field. Well, yes, you will. And you'll actually be happier. And your spouses and everyone around you will be happier.
Mm-hmm.
So I've worked with people in a number of sessions. I teach them these emotional release techniques. And I teach them really how to manage it. Once they've released some of that trigger mechanism, they start to be able to manage it in a way that they never knew was possible.
And as far as the results and what they say after you solve this issue with them, how does this change their lives?
Well, number one, they're happier, and all their friends around them are happier. Their friends ask them, what happened? You're so easy to be with now. And they find that they're more effective and more successful in their lives. Like they don't have to constantly be on guard that they're going to go out of control. And that's really, I mean, as living on the edge, as far as that can be so exciting,
Mhm.
that can also be really scary for people who are out of control. I mean, these men have worked their whole life to get where they are in their careers, and they really don't want to blow it. I have to believe that. So the people that I have worked with are much happier in their lives and much more effective. They still can perform on the field, and they can be managed off.
Do you think because of the self-awareness that they have after working with you and the release, that they could even be more powerful in their athletic, whatever they're doing in their athletic
Yes,
journey?
there's no question. And there's no question in my mind that they can. And they'll have to try me, because I know they might have doubt, but I'm sure. I work with a cage fighter right now, and he loves coming to me. He doesn't want to have rage off the court. He's already driven away some important people of his life, and he doesn't want to do that anymore. He wants to be able to love and be loved, and at the same time he wants to perform in his sport, and he's a great fighter.
Great. And
Yeah.
and what are the benefits that he's gotten from working with you as well?
Again, he's happier, he feels like he can manage his rage, and he knows that he won't drive away important people in his life.
Those people.
Yeah. It's a big thing. I mean, someone spends all this time perfecting their sport, and then to feel that lonely and that isolated because they can't keep it, people are afraid to be intimate with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's often a lineup of women waiting to be seen with them, to be intimate with them, for an evening perhaps. But I'm talking about the real intimacy, and that intimacy, when they lose that, it costs them, all of them.
So they really have a hard time in their relationships,
Mhm.
and if they don't come and see you, they can even end up lonely for
Yeah.
the rest of their lives.
Yeah,
And you can solve that issue.
I'd love to.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.